Recording in progress.
Yep. Good morning, everyone. So yesterday we learned about few selectors in CSS. So what are the selectors we learned in CSS? Primary, relational, and attribute. Dynamic pseudo classes, right? So we learned about CSS selectors. In CSS selectors, we have one is primary selectors and rational selectors, and we have attribute, and we have dynamic pseudo classes. Dynamic pseudo classes, right? In dynamic pseudo classes, hover, active, these are all options we learned. Now in the selectors, some more categories are there. Another important in selectors we have, these are element state pseudo classes. Element state pseudo classes. There is no order, so these classes don't have any order, right? So you need to just know about these classes. If I given something in a random order, don't get panic. So that is not at all order. All these selectors are there, right? Which selector to learn first, which selector to learn later, that doesn't matter. Yeah? These are all what kind of selectors? Element state pseudo classes, right? Element state pseudo classes. Dynamic pseudo classes, hover, active, link, visited, and focus. Element class like disabled. So we have like enabled, read only. Element state pseudo classes, we have disabled, enabled, read only, and checked. Right. So generally disabled, enabled, read only, checked, these are the classes. Why they are called element state? Because they belong to the element state. Actually, element state is disabled is a state. Disabled state means in disabled state, the elements you cannot submit the value. Already we learned disabled read only, like. So they are related to element state. Element state, let's see here. So if any element is disabled or enabled, suppose username. For this username, I am giving a value. So this is having a value, some value, username value is there. Now let's run this and see. That is the value here. So by default in the text box, there is some value, John. Now we can change the value. You can make the modifications. That means I will click I can change the value that is present here. Suppose I am giving here read only attribute. If I give read only attribute, then I cannot make changes. When I know that I cannot make changes, looking like this, it doesn't look like I can't make changes or cannot make changes. I don't know. That means here we don't know until or unless we click inside and start typing. Because read only, normal, both look similar. Until or unless you type, you don't know. So it should not be like that. Before they start typing inside it, they should know that it is read only. Then we can put some symbolic appearances for that. What we can do is we can access here. So we will write, so for any input, if the input type is what? Input type is, if the input type is text and it is having read only class. Read only means you cannot modify. That is the class. If it is applied with read only, then we will put a cursor. We will put a cursor for that as not allowed. Not allowed is a cursor. That means when I move the mouse here and when I move the mouse onto that, generally for password, you see a text cursor will come. And for this, not allowed cursor will come. That indicates that it's not allowed to do anything inside. These kind of visual things you can control. You can apply colors, anything. But this is simple. We call it as what? Read on. So what is disabled? Disabled is nothing but same. Suppose if a button is having disabled, then disabled button should look different. Then we will write button. What is it? Disabled. If button is disabled, we will put again cursor as not allowed. And for those buttons, we will put some background color gray. So we'll put some light gray. Okay. Now that is the background color applied for that. You can see that is background. And when disabled is removed, its appearance will change. When I remove disabled, automatically that appearance will change. It looks normal. When I keep disabled, then that appearance will come. On disabled, that appearance it is going to get. So depending on state, you can define. So this indicates effects when disabled. Enabled, it indicates the effects. So when disabled is not defined, because there is no enabled option. If disabled is not defined, then it is. So this is effects when set with read only. Checked, that means verifies the element checked state. And set effects. These are checked. Checked already I given. In forms concept I explained already. Checked in forms concept where I showed you. So I given you terms and conditions. In terms and conditions, user selects checkbox. Then we will display the button I accept. If doesn't check, then we will hide it. That already I showed you. While learning the forms, checked already I explained. Checked is used for whom? It is used for radios and checkboxes. So radios and checkboxes. So when radios and checkboxes are there, if radio and checkbox is checked, based on the checked property, we can apply some effects, right? So this is one option. This is one simple example. And a checked example already I given, but one more time just I will give here. I think in forms concept I given in forms concept I given you that checked. Let me keep one more time here. Yeah. Suppose we are giving a field set with a legend, and we have some terms of service, and we have a text area with so please accept the terms and conditions, and the text area have like row as 4 and calls is some 40 and disabled. Below the text area we put a paragraph, and in that we have input type is equal to checkbox, id as terms. Beside that I have a span called I accept, and below that we will keep a button. So suppose I said register, or we will simply put that register. Yeah. Now actually this register button should not display until or unless they select this. So what we have to do now, we need to write a simple logic. So hash terms that refers to checkbox, and tilde button. That means anywhere after the checkbox button comes at any occurrence, right? So then display should be none. That means the button is not displayed. And when checkbox is checked, it should display. So we have to access checkbox. Checkbox is terms. If checkbox colon checked, if it is selected, then the button after it should display as block. Then you can see I click on checkbox, it is checked, then it will display. If it is not checked, then it is hidden. Right? We can show and we can hide the content here. We can display and hide the content here. So we can change colors, effects, we can show, hide the content and display them here. That is actually the checkbox checked. This already in forms concept I explained. Right? So here we need to know this one more time. Simple example I will give here. This is related to element state pseudo classes. Next we have so element validation state pseudo classes. This already I explained. Element validation state pseudo classes already we learned, finished it. No need to explain them. We learned about optional. We learned about required. Remember? So in forms concept, I told you required. We have in range. We have like out of range. We have like valid. We have like invalid. This already I given you. So no need to waste time again in this, right? So we already discussed this. Required, in range, out of range, valid, invalid. These are the classes which will verify the state and it will report the problem. Already in forms concept, we designed it. We already learned about this. So no need to again explain this. I think which example it is. So in our forms, this is form bootstrap. Here we used these classes, which this is ordinary form demo. Na? So this is checked related. Where it is. So in some example, register example, this is not register shopper terms. This is somewhere I posted that example also. Na? I think we overwritten somewhere. Huh? Somewhere we overwritten those. Okay, somewhere we overwritten that in some file it is there. Just overview I will show you because already we learned them. Suppose I showed you an option like we have a data list, data term, so user name, and we have text box. Input type is equal to text. Now this username is set with required. So name is ID is username. Beside this, we will put a simple div, and for this div we will say name required. Now already I showed you that concept here. What we do, hash username. So the div beside it display should be what? None. And if username is invalid, then the div beside it should display as a block, and we will put its color as red. Now what happens when this is name required? When user clicks and start typing, it will disappear. When we remove this, then it will again display. So if it is invalid, it will show. If it is valid, then it will hide. Already this example I showed you in range for age, right? In so and valid, invalid for even patterns we can write, right? This example is already there with you, so no need to waste this time again. All detail also I given when I discussed about the details also I explained. Required, in range, out of range, valid and invalid. This all comes under which state? Validation state, because they are used for verifying the values. Okay. Next important in the selectors, we have structural pseudo classes. Structural pseudo classes. In the selectors, we have structural pseudo classes. Structural pseudo classes. In the structural pseudo classes, we have options like nth child. We have nth of type. We have nth last of type. Last of type. We have first child. We have last child. Right. So nth child, nth of type, first child, last child. These are structural pseudo classes. So what is the purpose of this? Nth child. So it is a specific occurrence. So specific occurrence. Nth child refers to specific occurrence of child element. And nth of type. Every nth occurrence of child element. So every nth occurrence of child element from top, every nth occurrence of child element from bottom. First child, this is first child, last child is last child. These are the structural pseudo classes. We have structural pseudo classes. So nth child, nth of type, nth last of type, first child, last child. So first child, last child, already we know their names speak what they are, right? So for example, see now here, I will add some option. Yes. So here we are adding an ordered list. So list item one. So some numbers we are defining. Okay. So item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like this. Some 8, 9, 10, like. So we have some 10 items in this list. Okay, this is there. Now what happens here is, so in this we will open list item. I want to apply color for first one. You simply have an option first child. First child, some color is red. And you can see it will apply for first item. For the first item, it is applying the effect. We have like last child, and you can see last one it will apply. First child, last child, already we know them. Suppose I want to apply to third one, then we can use nth child. Nth child, which number? 3. It will apply to third one. So nth child, some 7, it will apply to the 7th. You can choose which one you want directly. That's very simple. Nth child and number. We have another option. Nth child, not only number, you can even use a word like odd. That means it will get the odd occurrences. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. We can give as even occurrences will come. 2, 4, 6, 8. Usually when you design some tables and lists, odd occurrences one color, even occurrences another color, so that you can apply easily by using this. For example, suppose every list item, so ordered list as a list style none, we removed it, and here every list item will have some border box shadow as 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 2 pixel, some gray, and we will put padding as 2 pixel. So margin bottom as 10 pixel. So and width is 200 pixel. And every list item usually looks like this. That's how every list item looks like. Now what happening here, we will just keep even. So even background color aquamarine. And again, I'm giving same. So this time it is odd. This time odd. Odd, will give a different color. So I will give some red. So red is some light red. Okay, so I'm just giving light pink something. And you can see these are the alternate colors. Whenever you are displaying tables, rows, and random lists alternate set of strips we want. That is even occurrence and odd, even and odd occurrence. Screen is okay, right? Yeah. This is the even and odd occurrence of colors, right? That you can apply simply by using this syntax. So nth child, and you can give number. So, and we can add some effects. This is the class. Class means colon number. You can give the number, or you can also define like this. So nth child, you can give even or odd. The terms even and odd are used for that. That is basic syntax, how you can define child, right? Right. This is the appearance that you can give for elements. So nth child, so it will give like this. I will copy this example. This is nth child. So I'm just giving some example here. Now we have one more option. Instead of using nth child, I'm just giving a list item. So here, nth of type. I'm writing an option nth of type. Nth of type, I'm giving 2. Then you can see it is applying to the second one. Nth of type 2, second one. Nth child 2 also same. Then what is difference is, for nth of type, you can say 2n. 2n refers to every second occurrence. Every second occurrence, that means it will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Suppose every third occurrence, you can give every third occurrence, right? So you can give every second, third occurrences, second, third, fourth, anything. But where it is starting from second. So you can control that +1. That means starting from 1 every second occurrence. So starting from 1 every second occurrence. So starting from 1 every third occurrence, like this. Otherwise, it will start from that occurrence. Suppose I defined, so nth of type 3n, that means every third occurrence. And starting from top 3, I want starting from bottom 3. Then we can use nth last of type. Nth last of type means from bottom third. From bottom third, every 3 occurrence. So nth of type means from top. Nth last of type means from bottom. And from bottom first, then nth of type 3n plus 1. So it will give from there. So +2, that means from second. Right, from second, every third occurrence. From bottom, it will come. That you can define by using nth of type, nth last of type. So every nth occurrence of child element from top. Every nth occurrence from bottom. So syntactically, we write like this then. We write like this: nth of type. Nth of type 2n. This refers to every second occurrence. We have nth of type, nth of type, so 2n plus 1. So every second occurrence starting with 1. So here starting with second. That is what nth of type. Similarly, we have nth last of type. So 2n, so plus 1 like this. Same every second occurrence starting from 1, but it is from the bottom. So that is nth of type. So these are the classes that we have, and so these are considered as what kind of classes? Structural. We have structural pseudo classes, right? Structural pseudo classes because based on the hierarchical structure. That means in which child it is, from top, from bottom, that is. These are structural classes. Next important we have, so occurrence, behavioral, and occurrence classes. Behavioral and occurrence classes are there. These behavioral occurrence classes, these are little bit different actually. Here we use a double colon for them. Double colon we use like before and like after. Before and after. We have first letter. We have first sentence. First letter, first line. First line will be there. First letter, first line. So we have placeholder and we have selection. Selection. So these behavioral and occurrence classes. Then here the question is why double colon is used for them, right? We have before, we have after, first letter, first line, placeholder, and selection. So this is why you have two colon, because actually, so one colon is representing what? Inheritance. Inheritance. This represents inheritance. Another colon represents actually, this is represents contract. Inheritance and contract. Actually, contracts means we call interface actually. So interface is a different concept. These are very high level. Later in JavaScript you will learn. Even in JavaScript also we don't have interface. So later I will tell you the point. Actually, inheritance and implementing the contracts. What does that means is, actually a class can work for everyone. For example, I used hover. For which element I can use hover? For any element I can use hover. So, but these cannot be used for any. These are restricted for only certain. That means they have certain rules with implementation. Implementation with rules. Rules are defined as contract. Implementation is defined as inheritance. We have inheritance with rules. That means, for example, there is a placeholder for which element it will apply effect. Can you have a placeholder for a div? Can you have a placeholder for a button? Placeholder can be only for input. In input also, not for every input. That means it have restriction. It have certain rules. It will apply only certain areas. Other classes, they don't have rules. They can apply everywhere. Right? Hover means I can keep hover anywhere. Image hover, button hover, heading hover, paragraph hover, anywhere. But these are only for certain. First letter means only first letter. Right? And first line means only first line. Placeholder means only placeholder. And it cannot be there in any another element. Right? That's why these are called behavioral occurrences. And why you have these two double colon, inheritance and interface contract. So actually, I will give a point here is, so this double colon refers to implement with rules. Refers to implementation with rules. It refers to implementation with rules. That is what actually these behavioral are. And before, after, first letter, first line, let's see. Before, after, mostly we use for designing, these are used for designing a concept like breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs. Actually, breadcrumbs is a very popular design. In websites, you will see this very regularly. Breadcrumb design, I showed you card design. Similarly, like cards, breadcrumbs also very famous. Breadcrumbs means, for example, you are doing some shopping. When you are doing shopping, they will show you the steps in shopping. That means, suppose you are doing some payment process in the shopping, they will show you the steps. In step 1, select payment type. In step 2, enter your credentials. In step 3, so verify the OTP, like that. And those steps you will be seeing in the top. So those steps, currently in which step you are, next which step is going to come, all that you can see them. If you done any mistake, you can go to the previous step. You can do some changes in that step. Those kind of designs are called breadcrumbs. Actually, suppose let's see here. I will Google here some breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs in CSS. If you search breadcrumbs, directly breadcrumbs will come. So only bread will come. Huh? So breadcrumbs in CSS you have to search. Breadcrumbs CSS images, you will see these are breadcrumbs. That's how the images will be there. That means we have a home, after that shop, after that cart, after that checkout. These are called breadcrumb designs. So many will be there like that. You can see so many breadcrumb designs will be there. And what is the primary thing? Like this, we will design in next concept. To design that, you need some 2D, 3D also. So here, what is the purpose of this is, here before, after is important. That means before the current item, what is there? After the current item, what is there? It is actually designed by using. So before and after, let's see this. I will keep here some options, like I will give an ordered list. List item is home. Another list item is suppose shop. And another list item is cart. And another list item is payment. And another list item we have checkout and payment. Checkout and suppose say payment. Like this, we are having options like confirmation. These are the various stages. We have various stages. Usually what we do is, so ordered list, And ordered list here we have. So list style none, and display as flex. And you can see it will be like this. And what we will do is simply every list item after we put double colon after. Every list item after we put content. Content. Content is what? Content is I will keep a content like double greater than. That means after everyone double greater than will come. You can add any symbol you want. You can put any symbol you want. I'm adding like this. Right? For example, suppose I am using ampersand NBSP semicolon, space will come. We can add before and after anything here. So ampersand NBSP semicolon. And you can see it will add like this. Oh, this is ampersand NBSP semicolon. Is it? Acha, it is after now we are using. Then it should be in this way only. So let's see. This is adding that character also. Space we will give here. Okay. Now we will give one more here. What we have to give? Margin. Margin or padding, right? Padding, what I will give? Padding right. Padding right as 10 pixel. Then it will give some gap. So padding left as 10 pixel. It will give like this. These are options there. That means we are adding those padding left, padding right. Now the spaces are defined. This is after. Now tell me how to remove for the last one. How to remove the last symbol. How do we remove that? So first you need to access the last one. How to access the last one? Li colon, what is this? Last child. Okay, last child after. That means again double colon after. Last child after, what you want? Content. Content should be empty. Nothing should be there. Then it will not be there. We can add in that way. So we can put a symbol also. Actually, instead of content, you have URL. You can keep URL. This content is there now. Instead of normal content, you can put URL. You can put any path. Even you can put a CDN path also. What is a CDN? I explained. So that images will come and display there, right? So initially we will use content. Later when we design those 2D, 3D, then we can put different kinds of symbols there, right? So this is actually the option of before and after. First letter, first line already we know what it is. Suppose Li we given as first letter. First letter, some font family. I already given this in paragraph. If you remembered, I told you drop cap. In paragraphs, I explained drop cap. Drop cap means first letter, large capital letter, I explained. Right? So the drop cap, if you have to verify all what you have learned. So it's not like every day you come with a fresh mind. Because see, in further stages, you are just in CSS now. When you go to JavaScript, there I will see most of the people facing problems before because they don't practice HTML very well. right? So until HTML, CSS, so you will be very active. From JavaScript onwards, I have to make you active. Up to HTML, CSS, everybody comes with, sir, this problem, that problem. So I want like this, I want like that. When JavaScript start, nobody comes near me. Do you know why? Because JavaScript is programming. And once the programming starts, your entertainment stops. Your way of thinking will change. Because all these days you may be thinking like it's simple design, drawings like competition happening here. Once programming starts, your brain has to work. Logical programming thinking should work. When I start asking questions, you will run away. There I can see your real face. Means, are you really practicing? Do you have really confidence on that content? So, right, as of now, up to CSS, everybody comes. Right, this problem, that problem, this solution, that solution. After JavaScript onwards, nobody comes. Right, so you should not be like that. Right, I want you to be perfect, so that in JavaScript also, if I give one task, you have to do 4-5 tasks, and you should come with a lot of questions on that. Right, but majority I have seen nobody comes, because till HTML, CSS only they show their talent. After that they quit. Right, no, you should not be like that. So you should perfectly, because remember, you can't touch JavaScript without perfect HTML. You will not able to easily handle JavaScript without learning complete HTML. Every HTML feature you need to remember, because JavaScript is manipulating HTML. So whatever you learned in HTML, remember that very well. So review all the topics. Otherwise, you cannot handle JavaScript like concepts. Okay. So first letter, last letter, drop caps, all these I explained already. Right. So we are just revising those concept again. First letter. So I will give font family. Suppose some font family like Joker Man. That is the font family I given, and it applies that font family to every first character. Right, for every first character it is applying that. So if it is paragraph, you can apply for first line. Every paragraph first line can be defined. This is basic of before, after, first letter, first line. Right, I hope selection also. Suppose you see I given some paragraph, and in this, suppose there is some paragraph, and I want to give some selection here. So let's copy some paragraph content. So I will copy here some paragraph. Yeah. Now for wherever paragraph is there, I will give P double colon selection. I will put a background color, some yellow. And you can see now this is the paragraph we have. And in this paragraph, I am clicking and dragging, it will be highlighting. That is selection. That means I am selecting and dragging, it is selection. Now, why we call these with rules? Because rules means for every element you can't apply, and every effect will not work. For example, when I am selecting background yellow, okay, font size I given 40 pixel large, and I am selecting, then font size not changing. Background is working, but font size is not changing. That means every effect will not work, and on every element it will not work. So it have limits, rules. That's what double colon indicates. That means you are not simply implementing everywhere. You are implementing with the rules, means with certain elements, with certain effects. That is what actually that means. So you cannot apply every effect you want. You can apply only few. That is the meaning of these double colon, right? So we have before, after, first letter, first line, placeholder I already showed. Placeholder we discussed while designing text boxes. Na? Suppose we have a text box. So input type is text. And we have a placeholder called username. So we have input type is equal to password. So we have a placeholder called a password like this. So these are placeholders. We have placeholders. Now the placeholders, those colors, styles you can change for them. So just what you do is wherever input is used with a placeholder, double colon, what is it? Placeholder. Placeholder, then apply some color for that. Some green is applied, then placeholder will be green. You can apply effects for that particular placeholder. Suppose placeholder font size, I want to change some 13 pixel, it will be smaller. So some 10 pixel, it will be smaller. These all are the options related to this. So this is before, after, first letter, first line. This, let me copy this example. This is the example for that. No need to give any explanation because the words itself tell what they are. Before means before, after means after, and all. These are behavioral and occurrence related classes. Next important, in the selectors, we have another selector. We have a root selector and we have a universal selector, and we have language selectors, root selector, universal, and language. But these you cannot directly implement everywhere. Later we will learn with combination of some JavaScript as well as some CSS related options. Later, once we learn some more CSS, you can do that. Actually, root selector is nothing but root selector is defined like this: colon root. Colon root is used for root selector. Actually, this colon root, so it is referring to root element of page. Root element of page. Root element of page means the main node under which all the childs are present. The main node means which one? HTML is the main. Under HTML, you have head, body. In the body, again, you have forms. DOM hierarchy. We learned about DOM, document object model. So it will apply to root element, right? You have universal selector. It is written like this, asterisk. Asterisk is universal. Universal. So it refers to all. So all elements in the page, they must have one appearance, same appearance. Then you can give as asterisk. Right? Language selector, it is defined by using colon LANG. So it refers to language type. It refers to the language type. These we cannot use all at a time now. Later, situation wise, you will understand, because for that we need to learn what is language, how language is defined for pages and all. So I actually suppose see here we have a root. Suppose I am writing simply, so asterisk. So I am writing colon root. Colon root refers to the HTML parent. So at root level, all elements, all color must be, suppose I am applying color as some blue. That means it is going to apply everywhere. At root level, you are applying. Now, all elements, then we will use here asterisk, means buttons, text box, check boxes, radios, every element, font family must be Arial like this. That means everywhere the font family changes like this. Everyone, include the placeholders also. Buttons, placeholders, checkbox, drop downs, wherever letters comes, everywhere it will apply that family. So that means for every element, you want to apply some effect. Then you can define by using ast. You will able to understand these differences and work with them in JavaScript level, because there you will learn how to create a root. Creating root, adding roots, you will learn in JavaScript. Then you can understand the clear difference. Language we can't use now, because later you will learn language. Actually, suppose I am writing some ordered list, I can put a language attribute. Language as English, like this. English, French, German, different types of languages. Later you will see, because you can even print these numbering in your native languages. In your native languages. That means all Indian languages are available, right? You can print in Hindi, in Tamil, in Telugu, or in Oriya, or any language you can print. So for that, we need to learn some language concept. Later in CSS, when we are learning about the ordered list, unordered list, I will explain. There, for based on language, we can apply effects, right? For this language items, one effect, another language items, another effects. We can control that. But for that, first you learning this, just keep them in the note. Later we will see them how to work. These all are CSS selectors. So many selectors are provided. Why these selectors are very important? Because these selectors are used in later stage by JavaScript also. JavaScript uses these selectors to select HTML elements to do some operations on them. Not only JavaScript, jQuery also uses them. Later, any client-side scripting language have to take control over HTML. They depend on these selectors. That is the reason you need to know in various ways how to select one element. It is somewhere present in some place. We must able to access it, and we must apply some effects. Then you should know so many types of selectors. I hope everyone is clear in this, right? So now you have learned two topics in CSS. So what are the two topics till now you have learned? One is CSS integration. Another one is CSS selectors. These two things you learn. Integration is how you can integrate CSS into page. So three methods: inline, embedded, external file. And how you can select elements in CSS. To apply effects, how we can choose them. For that, we need what? Selectors. So you learned one more also. You learned CSS rules. You learned CSS rules also. Why these headings are important? Because these headings are important. Because in interviews, questions asked based on these heading styles. That means they ask, do you know this topic? Right? So actually we learned all the basic rules. What are the basic rules? We learned if inline, embedded, CS, external, all are defined, which one will work? If I give ID, class, and type, which one will work? We discussed those rules already, the priorities and all. This comes under which category? Rules. Right? CSS integration, CSS selectors, and CSS rules, right? These all comes under rules. So CSS rules means CSS rules, one simple point I will give you here. So priority between inline, embedded, and external. So priority between so type and ID and class selectors. This comes under CSS rules. Which one will apply, how they apply, these all CSS rules actually. And no need to discuss this now because already we learned about that. These rules already I explained to you. Right? So because in interviews they ask like category wise, tell me CSS rules, tell me CSS you have to know in CSS is about CSS inheritance. Another important CSS inheritance. So what is the inheritance? Actually, inheritance is the process of reusing and extending the code. The process of reusing and extending the code. So CSS inheritance is about implementation of effects by child element based on its parent. CSS inheritance is about implementation of effects by child element based on its parent. That's we call as inheritance. Actually, so we have three options are there. Inheritance values in CSS. In CSS are we have inherit, so initial, and we have unset. So inherit, initial, and unset. These are the three options. Inheritance is with these three: inherit, initial, and unset. Actually, what are these? We will see: inherit, initial, and unset. So for example, here I will take a page again, same, right? Now in this, I'm defining a div. This div class is container. In container, I just defined, so this is container text. This is container text. In that we have a heading. This is heading text. And we will apply some style, and we will apply container class. For container class, I'm giving border as some 4 pixel solid, say double, yep, and some red color. For container, we have padding as 20 pixel. For container, we have like what else we can give, some color as red. That is container. And these are the effects given for container: border, padding, and color. Right? Now we apply this to container. Now you can see here. So these are the effects. Now the key here, one important question is, actually I applied border for container. I applied color for container. Then why heading color changed? Uh, why heading color changed? Because heading is inside container. Because heading is inside container, heading is inheriting the container color. For container text, what color is there? That color it is inheriting. Have you asked it to inherit? No, it is automatically inheriting. Then why it is not inheriting border? It is inheriting containers color. Why it is not inheriting containers border? So child elements, they implement some of the parent features. It doesn't mean that they should look exactly like parent. So that means suppose we are from our parent. It doesn't mean that we exactly look like our parent, right? So we have some features of our parent. Some of the qualities of our parent we will have by default come, but we doesn't exactly resemble them, right? So child elements are adapting some of the effects of parent, not everything. They are not adapting everything. They are not inheriting anything. We can make them inherit everything. That means some they are inheriting, some they are not inheriting. You can control them. That means I don't want this heading to inherit the container related color. That means I don't want heading to inherit the container color. Then what you can do is you can keep it initial. You can keep it initial. Initial means before you adapted the color of container, what was your color? That is the initial color. That means now what you do here, simply for heading 1, we will say that what to initial color. Color, we will set it. Color initial means don't implement the color of your parent. Whatever your color is there before you implement that, keep it. And what is that? That is black. So heading is not inheriting its color. Not only color. For example, for container, I'm giving font family. Font family. Suppose some font family I given as a brush script empty. Like this I am giving. You can see container changed, heading also changed. I don't want heading to change. Then I given font family as initial. Font family initial will be not affecting it. That means I don't want it to affect. Right? By default, child elements adapt some effects. But the question is, it is not adapting the border. That means some it is adapting, some it is not adapting. Which one it is not adapting, you can implement it. What you can do, you can simply say that border you get inherit. We will say that border inherit from parent. Then automatically it will inherit that border. Right? See, almost all interviews questions will be like these only. They will not ask how to put background color. They will not ask how to put a border. Those are not the questions. Questions are all logical. That means I don't want this to apply for that element. How you will handle it? I want to apply to this particular location. How you will apply? I want only these effects to work. These should not work. Then how you will write? Such questions will be there. So that is the reason you need to know so many rules and consequence. Now, what it is inheriting? Border. But padding it is not inheriting. Padding, it is not inheriting. I want it to inherit padding also. Then we can put padding. Padding also what? Inherit. Padding also it will inherit. Now you will see some padding also there. Whatever parent effects are there, it can implement. Suppose you don't do this, then what it will do? It is going to keep the same. You can simply write all inherit. All inherit. All inherit means it will inherit everything, including border, including color, including this. Right? For example, this color initial, color initial, I'm just giving after this. Color will not be there because it is latest now. You can set up all, or you can set up any specific. If you want all, then you can simply write all, or you can simply put any specific calls, any specific. For example, I will delete this here, and I'm just giving all effects to be implemented. If you want all effects to be implemented, write simply all. You want only specific and some specific you want to ignore, then you have to do this. That is what actually the meaning of inherit and initial. So what inherit means actually? So inherit, it it implements the effects of parent to the child. It implements the effects of parent and applies to child. So and applies to child. That is what inherit will do. So here you can inherit all effects or any specific. Syntactically we write like this. So all inherit, or we will say some color inherit like this. All inherit, color inherit, like this we can define. It implements the effects of parent and applies the child. So you can inherit all, you can inherit any specific. So another one, initial, it sets the default effect for element. It sets the default effect for element. And what is unset? Unset is it removes all effects for element, including the default. Unset means it removes all effects for element, including the default, which already I showed you. I told you this in learning about headings. While learning about headings, I told you this. Remember that? I told you that headings have by default bold, by default font size. In interviews, they will ask how to remove them. So we have to set all as what? Unset. We have to define all unset. So that means even default effects also will be removed. So heading 1, you just keep all as unset. That means remove all the effects of heading, whatever it is having. Not only heading, any element by default, it is having some effects which you don't want, then you can simply put all unset. So that is initial. So initial and unset, how we can configure. This is example I will copy. Let me copy this example. Right. This is the example for understanding this inheritance. We call this as CSS inheritance. So CSS selector, CSS rules, and CSS inheritance. Next important, in the CSS you need to know about CSS colors. CSS colors, CSS units, so many are there. Remember, still you haven't entered into CSS. You are learning the basics to start CSS. That means you haven't entered into CSS designs. You are learning how to implement CSS. So once you know all this, now you are ready to learn CSS. That means you should know selectors, integrations, colors, rules. Then you are ready. That means you are not ready for the match now. You are warming up yourself. Understood? Right? You will enter into the match in next level. You are just warming up. Don't think that you are playing now. You are not playing. You are still warming up. Right? So now once you warm up, you know all this. Now you are ready to play with CSS. That is very huge, large CSS effects and all. Right? So CSS colors, HTML colors, but here some more are there. Right? What are HTML colors? In HTML, in how many ways we can give colors? 3 ways I told you, right? We can give a color name, color shade name, and we can use an hexadecimal. Here so many are there. See, in CSS, it will support color name, it will support color shade name, it will support hexadecimal, it will have RGB, so it will have RGBA, it will have HSL, it will have HSLA, so and it will have gradient colors. These are all different types of colors possible by using CSS. HTML will not support all of them. HTML have only 3: color name, color shade name, or hexa. But here you can give color name, color shade name, and hexa, and others. First 3 no need to explain, you already know. The range of hexadecimal you already learned, from 0 to F, RGB, 6 characters or 3 characters. 3 character hexa will be there, or 6 character hexa will be there. Now, what is RGB actually? So here we will see that. So RGB, right? So RGB is actually, so RGB, it sets color shade with the combination of red, green, and blue value that ranges from so 0 to 255. Range from 0 to 255. Every color range will be 0 to 255. That means, so we have RGB, so we have red, so we have green, and we have blue. That is the order. And every color will be, so red will be 0 to 255. Green will be 0 to 255, like that. All are same. Red, green, blue. So 0 to 255. That is the color range you can give. Blue. 0 to 255. Now, how to give red color? So 255 is bright and 0 is dark. That means how to give red color? RGB 255 00. that is red color. 255, first place is red, 255 is bright, 0 is dark. Same like 0 is dark and F is bright, right? 255 is bright. That is RGB. So here you have some color. Suppose I am applying some color for container. Suppose I am applying background color and we have RGB and red is 0 and green is also 0 and blue is some 255. Then it will be blue. So it will apply that background color. Suppose I am changing to 100. That means it is more dark. Right? I am using a combination here, 100 mixed with this. So 100 and it will be a different because we are adding green shade to that. More green shade. So 200, that means more green shade. Right? We are adding red shade to this. So 100 more red shade is added to this. Then it will be like this. I will give more red shade 200 because green is more. I will reduce the green shade, then red shade will be more. We can set up the color with RGB, right? Only one extra point here, RGBA. You know this. In Netflix, I already showed now, right? Red, green, blue, alpha. So it sets RGB with the alpha. So which is transparent, which is transparent. So transparent and alpha value ranges from 0 to 1. Already we saw this while working with Netflix designer. So we have red, green, blue, and alpha. So you write like this RGB and we have 255 0.5. So that is transparency, how much transparent you want. That means red color, but transparent red, so that we can see through what is in the background, right? That is RGBA alpha value. So RGBA I am adding. So because actually, suppose we have a body. So in the body background image, I am keeping URL background image. So we have /public. In that images, some Netflix is there. Netflix image is there in the background. Now, this is Netflix banner. There is Netflix banner. Okay. Now Netflix banner is in the background. I want this to see through. Then we will put alpha value as 0. Some 5. It will be transparent. We can see through. It will be transparent, more darker will come. It will be like this. Already you designed it. When we learned about Netflix, I showed you this, how to set up. So this is RGBA. Okay. Next option, we have HSL. So it sets hue, saturation, and lightning. Hue, saturation, and light. HSL is hue, saturation, and light. I hope you know this hue saturations. In your mobile, you have photo editing. In that, hue saturation will be there. Do you know what is saturation means? Do you know saturation means? What does means? What will happen if we control saturation? No. How much mobile you are using? 30,000 or 20,000? Huh? What is use? Huh? You are generally people are very excited in lot of features of mobile. Other than WhatsApp and YouTube, nothing you will use. Huh? In camera, photos, controlling them. Yeah. What is it? I am asking. I'm asking what it is. I am not asking where it will come. Huh? Right? Actually, saturation is gray shade in a picture. Gray. Gray shade in a picture. For example, you taken a photo in a very dark light. And now you want to increase the lighting inside it. You will not increase brightness. Brightness is not the point. We have to increase light. There is an option light, not brightness. Suppose you taken a photo in daylight, very bright daylight, and because of lot of sun, lot of yellowish shade is there. We want to reduce that. Then we have to reduce the hue in the picture. Do you know hue actually? What is the point about hue is hue is a, a color wheel. Color wheel. It's a color wheel starts with 0 to 365. So 365, yeah, 365. And 0 to actually 0 to how much? It is 120, I think, right? 0 to 120, it will be red. So 0 to 120, it will be red. So, and some 122, so that is 240. It will be like green. So from 240 to 360, it will be 360, it will be so blue, red, green, blue. That is the wheel actually. And saturation is what? Saturation is saturation is how much? Saturation is gray. It is a gray shade. Gray shade in image, in picture, or color. You can say gray shade in color. And this is actually this is 0 to how much? 100% will be there. 0 to 100% gray shade. Light is also, it is lightning. So from 0 to 100%. So this is 0 to 365 what degrees? There is an angle. 0 to 365 degrees. It's an angle. You have to mention value in degree. That is a 360 degree. 360, not 65. 360 degrees. 0 to 360 degree. Now you see here, suppose I'm giving color like this. Suppose let's say for body I am applying. Others I will remove. For the body I am applying here. So background color HSL. hue saturation. Hue I am giving degree, right? Suppose I give 50 degree. And after that saturation is suppose 0%. And lighting also suppose 0%. It will be dark. 0 means complete dark. We will keep 50% gray shade, and we will put 50% of lighting. It will be like this now. So now you see here. So what happens here? We are applying, suppose the color as suppose 250 is the color we are applying. Then you see the blue shade will come. Right? So that means I'm applying. So I'm applying some 150 is there. Then green shade will come. So I'm going towards back. Suppose this is 50. So little bit. So red shade will come. Some 10 here. Red shade will come. 0 to 120. It will be how much? Red shade. Red shade. And I want to increase the grayness in the picture. So then I have to change this to 10%, 20%. Grayness will increase in red. In red, gray color is coming. And I will reduce to 10. It will be more gray. More gray. And I will put it to suppose 5%. Then more gray shade will come. Right? So, and this one is lighting. I entered suppose 80%, more bright. You are increasing the lighting inside it. So, and you have one more option. What is it? HSLA. Same. What is the last value? Last value is 0.4. Transparency will come. If there is any background image, suppose we have background. What is it? Images. Images, public images, Netflix. If there is background, then it will be transparent. Actually, body we should not give. We should give for this which one? Div. We will give for the div. So it will be like this. So that is HSLA, right? Only one additional option is HSLA. What is it? So hue, saturation, and light with alpha. That is only the additional thing. Right? So how the HSL is defined like this? HSL, suppose I given 110 degrees. This is another 50%. Another one is 20% lighting. We have HSLA, that is 240. And here we have 50%. And we have something 30%. And we have 0.6. Like this we can give. HSL and HSLA. These are colored. So these are colors. One more is there. We have gradient colors that we will see in next session tomorrow. In tomorrow's session, we will discuss about gradient colors. We have colors. We have CSS units, how measurement units are taken. We learned only pixels till now, but there are so many other measurement units. We will learn about them. Then tomorrow we'll continue. Okay, right.